A very warm and heartfelt welcome to you all to this wonderful neck of the woods, Scartaglin. There are people here from Baltimore,
New Jersey,
New Jersey, England, and people as far away as Guinea-Gwilla are here also. Okay, and a huge thank you to PJ and the committee and the sponsors that have made the events surrounding today, World Fiddle Day, possible. I have some very good memories of being on the back of a lorry here in Scartaglin many years ago with the family band, because we used to go around playing at flats and things like that. But my most notable memory is being in the Nanonagle Hall in Kanturk. We were playing there. It was a winter's night, and the concert was interrupted with the announcement that John F. Kennedy had been assassinated. It was Friday the 22nd of November 1963. The word had circuitously travelled to Dublin via the late and great sports commentator Micheál O'Hare, who was in New York at the time and heard that John F. Kennedy had been shot. And I suppose he used an old dial phone or something, and he communicated the story to Radio Éireann, as it was called then, in Dublin, and the news spread around the country. Now, back in the 60s, we're talking pre-mobile phones and pre-colour television. So news in Ireland at the time, it was mainly shared and, you know, kind of spread in the creameries, in the shops, in the local shops, on the streets, on the side of the road, etc. Because we had no immediacy of the telephones. Equally, the dissemination of traditional music had its limits as well. Notwithstanding the fact that in the 60s there was a kind of a revival. Where's my other page, lads? It is all here, it is all here. There was a mainstream Irish music was undergoing sort of a revival. You had the Dubliners and Sean O'Riordan, Tony Coonan, which later went into the Chieftains, etc. But all that was happening in Dublin. So here in areas like Sliabh which extends North Cork, East Kerry, the tradition was being handed down basically from generation to generation, and by ear and by listening to the great teaching masters, of which Pádraig O'Keeffe was the most famous. And so the settings around which Irish music in Sliabh was being disseminated was in, you know, maybe house sessions or crossroads dances and things like that. However, there were a number of pubs, no, this was one of them, where the, music was shared and where Pádraig O'Keeffe often frequented. The same with Fleming's up the road, and of course we all know about O'Connell's in Knocknagree, where Johnny Leary played for set dancing. So we actually have, of course, at the same time, folklorists and radio producers like Kieran O'Mahuna was travelling around recording Sliabh music on site here. And of course, the famous album of Julia and Dennis was recorded in 1969, The Star Above the Garter. But we have come an awful long way since the 22nd of November, 1963. Incidentally, or interestingly enough, Pádraig died on a Friday, on the 22nd of February, 1963. And of course, while he was one of the main masters, his students then followed on and taught the next generation. But what we have today accessible to us all are concerts, sessions, lectures. Here in Scartaglin you have the residency, you know, the musician in residency here. And I think one of the most important events, or one of the most important, how would you call it, things here, and it was the vision of PJ, was to set up the Handed Me Down archive here. And in his own words, the aim is to help younger musicians who are interested in Sliabh and to follow them, or to allow them a window into the past to those who played a part in the survival of Sliabh music. With amazing technology at our hands and at our disposal, young people have access to the archives, recording. They can record session tunes, they can download stuff on their phones, they can share stuff with each other online and in real time. Some of us today may not be at the World Fiddle Day in 10 years' time. So the importance of handing the bow to the younger generation is hugely important. And the work that PJ is doing here is formidable in ensuring the safeguarding and the continuity of the tradition that is so strong here in Sliabh. So, while Sliabh, the Sliabh tradition may become diluted over time, I think the state of Sliabh music here, and fiddle music in particular, is outstanding. And here in Scartaglin, in the surrounding areas, and beyond that again. But I put the importance on the young people learning the tradition. So, to salute the great Brid O'Keeffe, whom we will be honouring later out on the square here, and to launch World Fiddle Day 26 here in Scartaglin, I'm going to ask Matt to play a polka with me. It is inscribed on the monument, or on a plaque outside Brid's house in downtown, which is only a few miles down the road. And that is how we will launch World Fiddle Day today. Okay, Matt? Just in case. I'll get it. Just in case I get a blank spot.
Just to add, in relation to this polka, as many of you will know, there are two polkas inscribed on the monument, one in the fiddle code, one in the accordion melodian code. What we're playing here is the one in the fiddle code. If you look closely at the monument, there's a bit of it missing at the beginning of the first part and the second part, but we played it completely. I've only had this tune being played by one other person, and that's Martin O'Connor, our local fiddle player here. Martin plays a version of this that he had learned from Pauli, but what we're playing here is what's on the monument itself. 3, 4.